When you think of Porsche's halo models, automatically you think 911 GT3, GT3 RS, and even the most hardcore GT2 RS. But a few years back, Porsche introduced the Cayman GT4, and that soon became one of the most sought-after Porsches to have. So you can imagine there's a lot riding on this car right here because it needs to live up to that name. Porsche have now thrown in bits from the GT3, so the question is it going to be just as good? Well, there's only one way to find out. Oh man. The first thing you notice about this car is, of course, the sound. And the fact that this car has got the 4-liter engine from the GT3 is literally what makes this car. I mean, listen to this. It's so easy to get into trouble with this car. And one of the reasons why is because this car has actually got quite long gear ratios. So each time you wind it up to really experience this 4-liter flat-six engine, you find yourself doing speeds that you shouldn't be doing, which is a good thing, but can also be a bit of a bad thing. So the bad thing is that most of the time, you actually don't have enough road for a car such as this. This car needs the kind of place that we're at right now, where you've got long sweepers and you've got tons of road, so you can actually use all the revs. Peak power in this car comes in right there, 7,600 RPM, and that will give you 309 kilowatts and 420 newton meters of torque, which seem like conservative figures, but with a chassis such as this, that is lightweight and agile, it's the perfect power setup. But what if I told you that this is actually not where this car belongs? This car belongs on a racetrack, and you can feel it. Even on these fast switchbacks, the way the front end engages with me is unbelievable. You almost wish all performance cars talk to you like this. And that's the thing about the analog nature of this car. It's meant to be a car that engages with you. So yes, I can tell you about the fact that it's got 309 kilowatts, it's got 420 newton meters, but all that stuff is irrelevant. This car is about the experience. And each time I do this, it never gets old. But that doesn't come without caution, because I can go from hero to zero very quickly in a car like this. We need to remember that unlike a 911, this car is mid-engine mounted, which does make the chassis very lively. So when you're coming out of a corner, you do feel trying to squirm a bit, and you can actually see the traction control light flashing on you. And it's quite interesting because I recently drove a 911. And a 911, because of the rear engine setup, the car is extremely planted. Whereas this, you can see that on the track, you could have a lot of fun with this when the systems are off. Something we will not be doing now. This car really just makes you want to drive and drive and drive. It's not your everyday Cayman, it's your weekend Cayman. But when that weekend comes, trust me, you're going to look forward to it. So I'm happy to tell you that this Porsche Cayman GT4 is exactly what you want it to be. This car is a true successor to the original Cayman GT4. And the cherry on top is quite literally the cherry on top. With this red paintwork and these gold wheels, this car is absolutely gorgeous. And Porsches have always been about evolutionary design, so you can definitely see elements of the original Cayman GT4. But the car doesn't scream at you, but people will notice. And the first thing that caught our eye is the large expansive wing at the rear. Porsche says that with the new wing, front apron, and a fully paneled underbody, the new Cayman GT4 generates 50% more downforce than the car it replaces. The interior is kitted out with all the amenities a track car would need, such as Alcantara on almost every surface, as well as red straps instead of conventional door handles, all in the name of saving weight.
Cayenne, Macan, Panamera, Taycan, 911, Cayman, Boxster. The point that we're trying to bring across here is that there's essentially a Porsche for every consumer looking to buy into their brand. What I do love about this car though, is that quite recently you remember we drove the Porsche Taycan, which is essentially the future on wheels, and it has all the technology that you can think of. And then you get something like this, which is extremely simple. It's got a manual gearbox, a normally aspirated engine, and an amazing chassis. The question is, which one of those Porsches would I keep for myself? Does anybody have 1.7 million rand for me?